This reaction is brought to you by my $5 or more patrons at patreon.com/AlexHeitz. I'd like to thank Andreas Glaisel, Big Chicken Time, Steph Newtown, Andrew Graff, at Heartgirl Videos 69 on Twitter, B Jabber, Jeff Dean, Mark Ventura, Matthew McLaughlin, Richard, Uwu Tang, Will E, Robert Mackey, and Sam Gabshak for sponsoring this video, supporting me and my family, the channel. I appreciate it immensely, and I hope you all enjoy this video. Well, boys, after about 4 years, we've finally arrived. I did my first album reaction on this channel back in, gosh, I want to say it was September 2018. Let me just double check that. Yes, September 2018, I started with Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. And picking that album in particular, I believe, set me on this specific course of really kind of specializing in a certain brand of music that I've been reacting to, which I would say is kind of this 80s going into 90s post-punk, jangle pop, dream pop, shoegaze kind of direction. That's sort of where I've been like dabbling in, living in. I started getting recommended albums left and right when I first started. It's like, oh, you got to check out Disintegration. You got to check out, go into New Order. You got to check out the Stone Roses and the Smiths. And it all, came left and right. Everyone was recommending all these adjacent albums to Unknown Pleasures. And one of them certainly was the album we are doing today. So it's now the end of 2023. Finally getting to this band, the Chameleons, which has been long requested, and it just like it for some reason just kind of kept falling through the cracks and it never got done. But now we're finally doing the first 3 Chameleons albums: Script of the Bridge, What Does Anything Mean, Basically, and Strange Times. And I am very excited to dive into what we have going on today. For those who don't know, I do unedited reactions on my Patreon, patreon.com/AlexHeitz. For $5 a month, you can get access to unedited reactions from Modest Mouse going forward. That's April of 2021 that I began doing unedited reactions. Today, this will be an unedited reaction, so if you want to be able to see it unedited, hop in at the $5 level over on my Patreon. You can also hop in at the $1 per month level and get access to voting in polls that we do every 2 to 4 albums, breaks up the monotony of going through these artist binges, and just kind of injects a miscellaneous album into the mix. So if you want to support the channel, get access to that type of content, head on over to patreon.com/AlexHeitz. Also going to shout out NordVPN, affiliate link in the description. Fantastic VPN with great speeds and great prices. Highly recommend them, been using them for years. Access content from other countries, be kind of private, you know how it all goes. Anyway, link in the description for that. The Script of the Bridge. No, sorry, Script of the Bridge by The Chameleons, or Chameleons, or Chameleons UK, or Chameleons Vox, whatever they go by at any time. Yeah, so this is kind of a landmark post-punk, gothic rock, dream pop album. Kind of sits adjacent to Disintegration with those types of genres, although this was 83, which was a fascinating year for music. Recently did a REM binge, and Murmur came out in April of that year. Fantastic album, arguably one of the first alt-rock albums ever, right there alongside, was it Violent Femmes that were doing stuff around that time too? Yeah, so this is definitely an interesting point for rock music, is 82, 83, because you have all of this gothic rock stuff happening with The Cure, which is really fascinating, and yeah, just a really interesting time. So I'm very eager to dive into this. I have heard Second Skin, should be a link in the pinned comment down below, for my reaction to that. I've also reacted to Paper Tigers, which I don't remember as well. I've only heard it that one time. I never went back to it for whatever reason. So eager to hear that again. But I know that a lot of there's Don't Fall and Up the Down Escalator, which are 2 singles. And that's track 1 and 5. But yeah, it's a 57-minute album, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. I don't really have any more preamble. I want to listen to this freaking thing finally. So let's have some fun. Script of the Bridge, first track, Don't Fall.
winter comes man.
What are you talking about?
We're off to a solid start. Definitely had more of like that kind of like dark punky riff in the beginning, but then it took a turn. Got a little more kind of anthemic, almost like arena music kind of sound to it. Very driving, which Second Skin definitely has that aspect to it as well. Similar kind of guitar lines too, but cool. Interesting. I like Second Skin more, but that was a very solid start. Here today. Pretty good. One of the more like meditative gothic rock kind of things where just kind of living in that riff and vibing. Fascinating lyrics as well. Cool. 2 for 2. Monkeyland.
Stab my back as they shake my hand. Send on Monkeyland. Million stars are a moving sight. It's just a trick of the light. Beyond this confusion, is there anyone there? We're caring, understand. It's just a trick of the lights. What is illusion? Tell me, how does it feel? Oh, is there...
Cool. I dug that. More kind of like what Here Today did, but this is definitely more in line with that Second Skin vibe, more dreamy, not as gothic. Really nice riffs. I just love these like long meditative soundscapes that like really struck me with Second Skin, which is our next song that we'll be doing here. Yeah, let's go ahead and listen to this thing again. Love this track.
Someone spoke to me, whispered in my eyes. I thought what they say
Great stuff. Love it. Still my favorite song on the album so far, at least. I just love that shift that happens part way through. And it's definitely been a recurring thing so far as like, Don't Fall had it, I would say. Just this like sudden shift in tone. I don't even know if it's necessarily a modulation to another key. And just very bold, definite like vocal modulations on Mark's part. Very unique stuff. Cool. All right, Up the Down Escalator. I know this is a big song off the album, some of people's favorite. It's another single. Let's listen. That was a bop. That's good stuff. Love that riff. Really nice melody. Interesting lyrics as well. It's all the hallmarks of a good Chameleons track right there. Very nice. Still like Second Skin a bit more, but that's a fantastic like poppier track. I like that. I've always said this in multiple videos, but I always say this. Always. I never don't say it. The mesh of variety and consistency on an album is really difficult to do, it seems, where you have a through line of tone that's consistent, but also variety in moods and vibes, and energy as well. Like tracks that are like Disintegration is great at that, right? Like you have the more aggressive tracks, coupled with tracks that are very slow, very sparse, and introspective and meditative. And it's happening here on Script to the Bridge. It's fantastic stuff. Always got to commend that. Less Than Human, track 6. That was cool. Apparently that was the B-side for In Shreds, which was their like 82 single, their breakout single. Interesting. Another more like kind of meditative track, but still had that kind of like aggression, like Here Today, kind of had that angsty riff in there. And whatever the hell that warbly like, what? That a synth? Is that a certain type of instrument? I don't know. I've heard that in other songs before. What is that instrument? Anyway, we flipped the vinyl. We're on the B side. Interesting to see if maybe these tracks will be a bit different. I don't know. Pleasure and Pain.
This place I can take you. As you fall after outward feelings I can't control. This madness, is it you? Is it me?
Something about like these tracks that have like these, you know, very what's the right word? Like thinking of like the second skin riff in the first part, just very kind of like despondent post-punk, but it definitely has that kind of like epic kind of, I don't know, I'm struggling with words today for some reason, but I love, like, example, Second Skin, the contrast of that first half, which has that, you know, kind of very direct, in-your-face post-punk stuff, contrasted with something a little dreamier, atmospheric, meditative in the second half. And this track, I would say, like, does it just as well or maybe even better. It's such a refreshing thing to go from that kind of oppressive feel in the music to something a little more like uplifting and like you can kind of catch your breath, which is absent from this era of post-punk. You think of like Pornography coming out around this time, basically all the post 70s post-punk definitely had that more kind of like oppressive, depressive feel, that never had this kind of like poppier, uplifting chord progression breakaway in the second half, and it's so refreshing. I really like it. Cool, solid. We're starting off good on side B. Thursday's Child.
Are we first and last, bound together in I suppose years ago, that's laid bare in my face, said to keep me in. I suppose years ago, yes, but what are you saying? Please leave my mind intact. Jungle creatures run and creatures grow. Where I suppose years ago, as I slowly grow older.
Great. Dig it. Again, really fascinating, unique takes on basic chord progressions. Where it's like, I'm going to linger on this chord a little bit longer rather than have it go somewhere you might expect it to. Couple that with Mark's really interesting melodies going over the top of these things and kind of, like I said, like the voice is doing the modulating because like he's hitting like sharps and flats that kind of accent the song in different ways. Fascinating. Cool. Really dig inside B so far. As high as you can go.
Boys out of tune, boys, signposts to the sun. Singles, and I don't care who you. Don't care who you are. Just on the line, you can make the sound. Take a chance. And I don't care who you.
Interesting. Not one of my favorites, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I like the guitar tone and the riff. Again, with that mesh of like consistent tone, but variety within that tone. This has been a quite solid album. There's been a lot of bangers on here. We have 3 tracks left, though. A person isn't safe anywhere these days.
Voices on the stand, the splintered glass. That's the monsters in the mud. You just, no one hears, no one sees, as they drive you to your knees. You just stood laughing in the rain. How can you love this one away?
Cool. Again, not a favorite. For the first part, it kind of just felt like recycled parts of previous songs kind of put together and didn't really have a whole lot of its own personality. But again, that little dreamy outro last half, I dig it. Okay, 2 tracks left. Paper Tigers, like I said, I did react to this on the channel. Should be linked down below. If it's its own standalone video, I can't recall. But let's listen again.
They always keep themselves clean. They always keep them what I mean. Tigers paid on paper, but don't pay now. You have to pay later. Yeah, they always keep themselves clean. They always
So I do remember that now. And it fits a lot better in the album. Getting accustomed to the variety on here, like, Don't Fall starting so aggressively. Paper Tigers makes a lot more sense now in the album context. I vibed with it a little bit more than I did the first time I heard it. Cool. All right, we're down to our last track. Last one, everybody. View from a Hill. Let's close this out. There it is. What a fantastic outro. I was hoping for something a little more like slow and meditative, and honestly had that kind of like Americana warbly electric guitar feel, like F sharp, A sharp infinity for a second there. Cool. Really dug that track. Fantastic way to end this album, which this album is fantastic. This is a great album. Least favorite tracks would be Here Today, A Person Isn't Safe Anywhere These Days, maybe Paper Tigers a bit, maybe As High As You Can Go a bit, but like maybe Less Than Human. Less Than Human, that was also good. Dang, it's actually kind of hard to pick ones that I know Here Today and A Person Isn't Safe Anywhere These Days are my two least favorites, but they're still pretty solid. Man, Monkeyland was great. Still love Second Skin. Up the Down Escalator, fantastic. Less Than Human was solid. Pleasure and Pain and Thursday's Child were really big surprises for me. Then fantastic outro with View from a Hill. This is really good. Really good. I see the appeal, and like I said multiple times, that consistency in tone, and vibe and mood, but still has the variety within that to kind of play around a little bit. It got a little samey here and there, a little repetitive, but like not by much. And for an album that's almost a full hour long, this was very nice. And I think having heard all of the stuff I've heard in these genres before, I probably wouldn't have appreciated Script of the Bridge if I had reacted to it in my first like 50 albums I did. I feel kind of primed after like sitting on Disintegration for a while, and just kind of, being in these spaces, even in like Cocteau Twins as well with some of their ethereal wave stuff, has kind of like primed me to really enjoy this. Yeah, this was fantastic. Really great album. Excited to listen to it again. Stay tuned for my follow-up to it. I usually do follow-ups like 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, however long it takes after I do album reactions, and I kind of follow up with my thoughts after I've sat on the album for a while after my first listen. So stay tuned for that if you'd like to hear that. But really excited to check out their next 2 albums coming up. What Does Anything Mean basically comes out 2 years later in 85. Seems to be more of the same good stuff there. I have not heard anything off of that album, I don't think. No, I haven't. No. Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. Okay, everybody. That is it. We listened to the big album today, and I had a blast doing it. It was fantastic. Glad to have finally done it. Good stuff. Again, things to plug, patreon.com/AlexHeitz, $5 a month, access to unedited reactions, of which this and all the Chameleons albums will be one. And also $1 a month get you access to voting in polls. Also got to check out the Discord. Got about 175, maybe almost 200 members at this point. I'm not sure. But Topster charts, memes, discussion. I'll post like early access to my album reactions on YouTube if I'm able to upload them in time, get early access to that. All that fun stuff, all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Good. Glad I finally did this. We've arrived at the big junction point of the channel. Getting into lots of really cool stuff. I've been enjoying so much of what we've been listening to recently. I would say the last challenging thing I had to listen to was probably going through Sonic Youth. That was a little rough because it's just, that's not really my taste of rock music. But we've been on a great trajectory up through REM and everything we've been doing. So cool, good, love it all. Yeah, so stay tuned, guys, for the next one. What Does Anything Mean? We're going through all 3 Chameleons albums before we do a poll album, so it's just gonna be Chameleons all the way down. Yeah, still got my live streams going as well, kind of rotating. I'm almost done with Berserk, so it'll probably just go down to there's some other miscellaneous like stream ideas I want to do. So once Berserk is done, I'm going to slot in some new stuff. So stay tuned for that as well. But thank you everyone for watching so much. Hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, Godspeed.